Hey, what's going on? Keith here from Sports Vibes TV, and today gonna be talking with you guys about the Knicks win yesterday or last night against the Philadelphia 76ers. This was a great win for our New York Knicks, especially coming off that demoralizing loss to the Orlando Magic. That's a game we should have won. We should be entering this Bulls game up, not up, but with a record of 4-0. But the fact that we were able to rebound and go up against a Philadelphia 76ers team that has championship aspirations this year. They're not fully whole, still have the Ben Simmons drama going on, but there's still a team that has a bunch of talent. You're looking at Joel Embiid, you're looking at Seth Curry, you're looking at Tobias Harris. They got Thibault, they got Maxey, a player that a lot of people are saying the Knicks would have tried to draft if he were available. So you're looking at a team that still had a lot of talent out there on the floor. And the fact that the Knicks were able to go out there and, pretty much seal the deal, I would say, in the second quarter. I think the game outside of that second quarter really never got back in reach. I think in the fourth, they got it within about 13 or 14 points. But I really was not in any concern that the team would let this one slip away. So there are some things I want to get into from the game, get into some of my some major things that I looked at the game and kind of said, hey, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Some players I have to shout out. I'll go through that as well. But let's see what we've got going on in the chat. We've got our guy Frederick saying we here. Salute, salute. Thank you guys for tuning into the live streams. I know my live streams are kind of like pop-up shows. I apologize, but with my schedule, I gotta stream, pick my spots here and there. So thank you guys for tuning in and supporting the channel. Terrence Ross always cook us for some reason, nothing to worry about. Yep, that's a fact. I think I was talking about it in the Orlando Magic live stream that I was on with Foxy. I think Ross, he has 5 games where he scored over 20 points on us. And then in that game, he scored 20 points in one quarter. So it's crazy that we allowed him to get to cook like that, but it is what it is. Not going to worry about it much, especially seeing how he came out and performed against the Philadelphia 76ers. I like to look at this game almost like a chaser. Some people, they don't like the taste of an alcoholic beverage, so they take a chaser to help ease, the enjoyment, I guess, of the alcoholic beverage. So if you're looking at this game, you didn't like what happened against the Magic, the Knicks went out there, punched the Philadelphia 76ers in the mouth in that second quarter, made sure that this was a game that was out of reach. And if you looked at the 76ers, it didn't seem like they were willing to exert the amount of energy it would have taken for them to come back. So I like that the fact that this team was resilient, even though the first quarter was a little rocky. We didn't have a lead at first. Philadelphia was able to get a lead, was up about 4-6 points. But when I was watching the game, I'm like, hey, Philadelphia has a lead right now, but we aren't playing well, and this game is still well within reach. So just off that first quarter alone, I was extremely confident. I'm not going to say I was as confident heading into the game, especially knowing that the Philadelphia 76ers had beaten us 15 times in a row heading in. But the fact that in that first quarter we were still able to stay within reach, even though we weren't playing our best basketball, to me that made me pretty confident headed into the second quarter. Now, did I know Kemba Walker was going to go off and have his best game as a New York Knick? Nope, I did not know that. So he, in that second quarter, when he was 4-4 from the field, 2-2 from the 3-point line, and he really took over where Derrick Rose had left off. Derrick Rose with that second unit came, he was balling, gave us a lead. It was about a 10, 12-point lead. And then Kemba Walker came in and pretty much, made sure that they weren't going to have any belief that they could come back in this game. So Kemba was doing his thing, him being from New York, him being from my neighborhood, to see him go out there and perform in front of the home crowd, not just the Knicks home crowd, but that's Kemba's home crowd as well. So to see him put on like that for the Garden, him being from the Bronx, I think that was something I was waiting to see all season. It's been a little rough start for Kemba, and I won't say offensively, he hasn't shot bad offensively, I would say, but defensively, there were some concerns. And I think last night we saw the team as a unit play solid defense, and we saw how dangerous this team can be when we have 2 point guards that can affect the game offensively. That's Kemba Walker as the starting point guard and Derrick Rose coming off the bench. I'm running a solo show, so I apologize if I'm not getting to the chat as often. Let's see who we got here. Roberto Mendez. He's saying, "Let's go Knicks all day, baby." Facts. Maxi still chalked up on the MSG floor. Yeah, our boy IQ, man, dropped him. And I like the fact that it was IQ that put him on the floor because, like I said in the intro of the show, some people were saying that the Knicks were interested in drafting Maxi if he was available. So maybe IQ knows that as well. Maybe he heard that through back channel. So the fact that he was able to put him on the floor, have a pretty solid game with that second unit. He still hasn't had any explosions offensively, but that's fine. You look at this team with the amount of offensive depth that we have, we don't really need IQ to go crazy every single game. Just drop your open looks. He had a couple nice assists out there as well. Had a nice dime to Obi that I think was a solid pass, a nice find. Got him an easy bucket. So as long as IQ is still staying within the offense and not shooting us into trouble, I think I'll be perfectly fine with that. No major turnovers or anything like that. Big Task is saying we in here. Once a Knick, always a Knick. I've been saying for a while, Knicks are the second best team in the East. I won't go that far, but I think we definitely have the goods to be a top 4 team when it comes to seeding. Jet for Life is saying salute. Quiet Money saying salute to the chat. Big Task, the Bulls is a must win. If we didn't pick up the W today, then I would have looked at the Chicago Bulls game as I won't say a must win, but it would have been a game that the Knicks really would have to win or would really need to win in order to quell some of the outrage or uproar you might hear from the media. To lose to the Magic, then lose to the 76ers without Ben Simmons, and then to lose to the Chicago Bulls with a Zach LaVine who's now saying has an injury in his non-shooting hand. I think that would have been a rough start to the season, and you would have just heard some of the things that people have been dying to say, but haven't been able to because he's been playing so well in preseason and regular season. That's when you would have heard a lot of those, a lot of that noise kind of rear its ugly head. Frederick is saying hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you, Frederick, for reminding everybody. Smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and also make sure you have the notification bell turned on and hit to always. That way you know whenever I have my pop-up live, you can join in, chop it up with me in the chat, and also when I drop the edited videos. Let's see. Salute Quis and the family. Hey, my guy George into the Knicks verse 3-1. Let's go. Should be 4-0, but hey, I'll live with 3-1. Let's see. My problem. IQ can definitely be our future point guard. I hope so. One player I really liked from the game last night was Mitchell Robinson. I think Mitchell Robinson was a factor last night. He showed how important he is to this team, especially going up against marquee bigs in this league like a Joel Embiid. One thing I didn't like, though, I don't think the presentation gave him as much respect as he should have gotten. First, you got Shaquille O'Neal talking about Mitch is weak. Well, we've seen Mitch go and put the work in to kind of build his strength, add additional muscle. So I think when you look at Shaq, who is a big man in this league, I really don't feel like he should have been, bashing Mitch like that, especially when you're saying he's weak. But if you look at the game, Mitchell Robinson is out there stopping Joel Embiid from getting to his spots on the court. So he's making sure he's making it as difficult as possible for Embiid before he's able to get the ball in the paint or in the post. And to say or to look at that game and say Mitchell Robinson is weak, then I don't know what Shaq was really looking at. And throughout the majority of the game, I think Mitchell Robinson was playing his ass off. And if you listen to some of the things they were saying, it was more so geared to what Joel Embiid wasn't going out there and doing, as opposed to what Mitchell Robinson was stopping Joel Embiid from doing. And I think as this team continues to grow, as we start to get more and more respect, you're going to hear it from the national broadcasters, because Mitchell Robinson played phenomenal. He was out there making sure that Joel Embiid wasn't getting position on him down low, because in previous games against the Philadelphia 76ers, there were times where Joel Embiid would get Mitchell Robinson in positions where the team couldn't really help him out at that point. But you saw in the game, Mitchell Robinson would force Um, Joel Embiid out of the paint would not allow him to get the ball in his spots. He was getting the ball about 2 or 3 feet from the 3 point line, and at that point, you give the Knicks as a defense as a team the opportunity to then try to trap. And we saw that I think in the very first offensive possession or first shot for Joel Embiid. He got the ball. Mitchell Robinson forced him out, made sure that there was enough time or opportunity for the team to give him some help defense and trap Joel Embiid. And we saw that in the first play, RJ Barrett was able to trap and force Joel Embiid to put up I believe it was an air ball. It was not a good looking shot. And we also saw it later on, right around the third or fourth quarter, similar scenario. Mitchell Robinson made sure Joel Embiid did not get the ball in his spot, and Evan Fournier was able to come over, trap, and we got a similar result. So I think Mitchell Robinson definitely should have gotten more kudos from the national broadcast at that game last night, because what he was doing is exactly what we've been saying here on the channel. We need him to continue to be a defensive factor, and then the offense will come. I think if you look at this roster, we don't have to rely too much on any one player in order for this offense to thrive. So as long as everybody's giving it 100% on defense, then I'll take what I can get from any player offensively, because I'm confident that if that player is not clicking on all cylinders, there's going to be somebody else on this team that will, because this team is so deep that it's almost impossible, I think, for teams to take out multiple players on this roster. There's no way you can shut down Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier while you're showing or paying most of your most of your attention on defense to Julius Randle. There's too many weapons out there at any one time for another team to try to shut us down. So not too concerned right now or worried about Mitchell Robinson showing more on the offensive side of the ball. I think what he's doing right now is exactly what we need, playing solid defense, being physical. I think the Philadelphia 76ers did not want to match our level of intensity. They didn't want to get as physical with us, and it showed, especially I think in that second and third quarter. So if the team can continue to perform like this, we should be a handful for any team in the league, whether you're the Chicago Bulls, who we play tomorrow in 4-0, or if you're a team like, let's say, the Utah Jazz or the Denver Nuggets. They battled the other day as well. They're leading in the West. I think this team is set up for success, both in the near term and the future. And everything I saw last night, for the most part, it was encouraging, especially coming off that big loss against the Magic. Let me see. I get too into. Forgot to let you guys know. Got some highlights for you. There we go. Let's add the highlights. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Geraldine McIver saying, I've been telling people that Kemba would have his time to shine. He's just getting started. Yeah, he's on a new team, so it's going to take time for him to get acclimated, to learn the system, to figure out or to know where his teammates are going to be when he penetrates, or where they want the ball when he's passing it to them. So it's going to take some time. I like the fact that he's finding his shot. He has not had a bad, I don't think, shooting performance for the most part. He's usually a bucket. Well, I think he did have a bad one. He was like 8, 2 or 9 or something like that. But for the most part, he has not shot us out the games or anything to make me say put him on the bench. Any issue I've had with him has been on the defensive end of the court. And last night, if he's able to shoot the rock like he did, then you're not going to worry about some of the defensive deficiencies he has when he's out there. And the team played solid team defense. So as long as we do that and we're able to pick up when somebody, let's say, whether it be Kemba or even Evan Fournier, are to make an error, then we can, rotate, help them out, and make sure we're still getting out to the shooters when they decide to kick it. So I was pleased with Kemba. Haven't felt too strongly either way when it comes to him. So I'm happy with what we've seen so far from Kemba. Let's see if we can neutralize Lonzo and bring out Vucevic to the perimeter. We can beat them. I'm more concerned about Zach LaVine than I am about Lonzo. I think Lonzo, you're more so worried about what he's going to do if he gets an open look and is more so a catch and shoot situation. I don't see Lonzo going off on us like a Cole Anthony went off on us or like a Jaylen Brown. I think the focal point is going to be Zach LaVine, even though that's not breaking news or anything. I think it's going to be how are we going to deal with Zach LaVine and a DeMar DeRozan. I think Lonzo Ball is another threat out there, but I don't think they're going to run a lot of options, a lot of their offense through Lonzo. What they might do is they might try to get Kemba on Zach LaVine, whether it be through a switch, running pick and rolls or something like that, in order to get or exploit the matchup that way. A Story, loyalty and morals is saying, I'm glad Obi is getting minutes. Same here. He's been looking good in the minutes he's gotten as well. They're using him much better, getting him out in transition a lot. You don't see him just standing. Dang, they're ripping the runway out there. You don't see Obi just standing in the corner waiting for catch and shoot 3-point shots or anything like that or opportunities. He's actually getting involved, and the team is finding him. I think a big issue last season was we didn't have anybody that was looking to get Obi involved. Now, with the addition of Derrick Rose, you see Derrick Rose starting to look for Obi, try to get him into rhythm. And we're also seeing IQ and Obi have been working together throughout the offseason. They've been working with each other, summer league, preseason. So they're starting to build a rapport as well. And you're seeing them out there on the court. They're starting to find exactly where each other are, where they are on the court. And it's providing a lot of good looks and open opportunities with that second unit. That second unit, I think, is clicking a little bit better than the starting lineup. Like, we've seen some moments in the starting lineup where things seem like they're gelling very well. You've seen Julius Randle and Evan Fournier start to build a nice little two-man game. Actually, Stan Van Gundy pointed it out twice on the broadcast that there was a moment where they used Julius Randle in the pick and roll, two separate occasions, one with the ball in his hand and one without. And we were able to get a good look. So if the team can continue to try to use Julius Randle in those situations like that, I think it's going to cause a lot of problems out there with for other teams, because now you have the question, do you try and stop Julius Randle, who we know is a offensive weapon out there on the court, or do you try and stay home on a player like Kemba or Evan Fournier, who you know is going to kill you from three if you allow them to have an open look, even a slightly contested look? Because even the three-pointers that we're knocking down, we're taking a lot of threes, yes, but all of them aren't wide open threes. We just have players on this team right now that they don't need a lot of airspace. They don't need that much breathing room. You give them a little bit of breathing room, and they're knocking down the shot. And that's why you saw last night there was so much space out there on the court at times when we're flowing and the guys are knocking down their shots. Defenders have to stay home, and that allows Julius Randle to operate one-on-one. And I think Julius Randle is at his best, not when he's looking to score, but when he's looking to make a play. And when he's out there making the right plays, this team is unstoppable offensively. And I liked what I saw from Julius Randle out there. He he didn't have the best shooting performance, but what he did was he had 7 assists and he only had 1 turnover. So when you're playing like that and you know the offense is flowing through you, you may not be hitting your shots, but you're getting your teammates involved. And a lot of those made assists were either 3-pointers or easy 2-point shots, high efficient 2-point looks. One was to Mitchell Robinson that he got a basket under the paint, and then Julius Randle also had an assist to Evan Fournier, Kemba Walker, getting them involved. And whenever this team is knocking down his 3-pointers the way it was in the second and the third quarter, it's very hard for opposing teams to guard us, because you try and cover, or you try to rotate and stop the open look, but the ball is either going to go to a 3-point shooter that's as good or better. And if you do get there in time to stop them from pulling up, you have a bunch of players that can put the ball on the floor and then start that cycle all over again. So at some point, we're going to get good looks. And with the shooters that we have now, we're going to knock them down. And that's a reason that the team is up towards the top of the league in 3-point attempts and 3-point mades. So if we continue to play this brand of basketball, I find it very hard for teams to stay with us. I think our biggest concern is just going to be team chemistry and just Julius Randle trusting in his teammates. Because if Julius Randle is able to do that, then it's going to be a long night for opposing teams. And I think Julius Randle is starting to understand that. I got a snippet from his press conference post game. It's him and it's also Thibodeau. So I'm going to play it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment or in the chat section.
We're a team, man. Like any night, anybody can get hot. Everybody can score and make plays, and that's what this team was built to do. Like, uh, it's great, man. I don't have to go and get 30 to feel like we got a chance to win. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody can come out and make plays, play together. And like I've been saying all year, as long as we defend, we don't have a shot to win every game.
The thing is, we have a number of weapons, and hey, like tonight it was Kemba. You know, tomorrow night it could be Alec. The next night could be RJ. Uh, you know, we play through Julius. You know, he sets the tone. Mitch is coming. You know, it's Mitch could be special, but we have a number of guys. Quick is, you know, made some big plays tonight for us. Obi, you know, we seeing the growth in him, and that's what I like. And we have good quality depth.
Yeah, so you can hear both from Julius Randle and Tom Thibodeau. They understand this team is extremely deep, and we have gifted scorers, as they say, gifted playmakers up and down this roster. I think if you look at the second unit, there are players that would start on a lot of other teams in this league. So you're looking at a team that 1 through 10 has potential starters throughout that lineup. And if we continue to just trust in each other as I say in each other like I'm out there on the court. If they continue to trust each other, they'll be perfectly fine this season. It's encouraging as a Knicks fan to go out there and see this kind of offense. I think coming into the season, I knew we had shooters, we had additional shooters, we would have better floor spacing. But you look at Tibbs, when I wasn't sure if that was going to be his offensive philosophy to get as many 3-point shots up as possible. But if you look at the way Tibbs is moving right now, Tibbs is saying, hey, go out there and chuck. And if you're shooting the ball at the clip that we're shooting, then you're not going to be opposed to it. They went out there last night from the 3-point line, 16 of 37, which is good for 43.2% from the field. I mean, from the 3-point line, just great as a team. For the on two, not 2 pointers, but on field goal, they shot 41 for 87, which is good for 47.1%. I like the defensive intensity we showed out there too in the first half. I think we only allowed what 2 3-pointers to drop in the first half. Joel Embiid, like I was said with when I was talking about Mitch, he had him locked up. I think he didn't get his first field goal until about a couple minutes into the third quarter. So for the most part, he was a non-factor. He was drawing some fouls. Yes, he was getting to the line, but outside of that, I think he wasn't really doing anything to help get his teammates in the flow, and he really wasn't destroying us in the paint. I think with Mitch, I don't know. I'm just a big Mitch supporter. I think we need to sign him before a reasonable price. I don't want him to be signed to Jared Allen at money. I think that'll help us with our roster construction. But if we're able to get him at Robert Williams, Wendell Carter Jr., right in that $50 million range for 4 years, I think that would be a steal in terms of what he's able to provide out there defensively. So just the way he affects the game. Let me get into the chat, see what's going on. Big Task, salute. He's saying hit the like button. Yo, Boogie got that salute stuck in my head. Fire song. Make sure you guys check it out. J Boogie podcasting. All right, let's see. Wow, big salute to George. I wonder what George did. What did George do? Let's see. Taj only needs to back up Mitch when tired or in foul trouble. Randall Obi is working at the moment. Yeah, it is working at the moment. There are times though when we can't throw that small ball lineup out there. If you looked at the Magic game, they were able to attack us at times when we stayed small for too long. So I like to see Thibodeau incorporate the Randall Obi small ball lineup, but it has to be for the right matchups, or else they're gonna attack us and we will be exposed. And the last thing I want us to do is to get exposed with that lineup and then for Tibbs to kind of shy away from using it in the future. Let's see. Less ISO ball. It was a total team effort. That's a fact. I think by the time the half ended, they said they were 10 players All the players that had scored all the players that had played had already scored, and I think the only player that had more than 10 points or double digits was Kemba Walker. So it kind of shows exactly how this team was able to move the ball around as a team. We had 24 assists, and everybody was getting looks. And when you have a offense like that, you don't really get, I don't think, these long lows because you have the team that's in rhythm. If somebody's not knocking down the shot, you have somebody like a Kemba that may be hot. Fournier started to pick it up throughout the game as well. Derrick Rose has just been a godsend. I think he has been, he's going to probably win Sixth Man of the Year if he continues to perform like this. I think somebody made that. I think it was CP from Knicks Fan TV. He made that prediction, and that's probably why it popped in my head. But if he keeps performing like this, he's definitely going to be in consideration. That was something that I think is possible because every game I'm back, because every game he's been in, he's been a spark plug. Every single one. I think he had one bad game, nothing crazy. But if he is going to continue to be our lightning rod, then I don't see how you would give it to anybody else in this league. He already got votes for it last season. This season, I think he's been performing even better. Like the 3-point shot. Last season, Derrick Rose put up a 3. I wasn't too confident that he would knock it down. But this season, he puts up the 3. And I'm like, yeah, in your face before he even drops. And I'm super confident with his 3-point shot. And then you look at the way his offensive game is, how he's built it out throughout his career. He's getting into the mid-range. I know a lot of people don't like, the fact that Quickly puts up floaters, but Derrick Rose puts up floaters too. I think the big difference is that Derrick Rose also has other moves to use in that mid-range area in order to get his shot off. And I think if Derrick Rose continues to play for us like this, then this team is going to be right in line with my 48 win prediction. I think this team is going to be extremely solid all year round. That loss against the Magic really threw me off because I didn't expect to see us to come out and kind of give that game up to a team that really should not been in the same class or in the same league as us. So hopefully we don't have setbacks like that moving forward, and this team can continue to gel and mesh offensively. Because like I said earlier a little while ago, the team is still learning to play with each other, especially that starting unit. Fournier is in his first season with the team. Kemba, first season with the team. So if we're able to, we've already broken our 3-point record. We went out there and we just bludgeoned the Philadelphia 76ers. If we're already doing this and we're not firing on all cylinders, imagine how good this team will be when we are. And that's what I'm really, really waiting to see. I want to see RJ Barrett. I didn't even speak about RJ Barrett much. RJ Barrett, he didn't go crazy. 4 of 10 from the field, 2 of 4 from the 3-point line. He had 7 rebounds. That's solid. 4 turnovers. The issue I had with RJ is he got stripped way too many times for my liking. Way too many times. That's something he's going to have to work on and step up with. But outside of that, I think he played solid defense. Just the big thing or the big concern I have is the fact that he got ripped at least twice. And I think twice on back-to-back plays. I'm sitting there watching and I'm like, oh my gosh, RJ, tighten up that dribble. But other than that, I think this team is solid. We're in a good position to contend for one of those top seeds. You look at some of these teams, the 76ers, you see how they're weak without their star point guard or guard point forward, whatever you want to call him, Ben Simmons. He's not available. You look at the Brooklyn Nets, they're without Kyrie Irving. And if the Knicks want to be serious about grabbing one of those top 2, top 3 seeds, then we're going to need them to go out there and continue to play like they're playing against the Celtics in the first game, minus the fourth quarter, against the Magic when we broke our 3-point record, and against the Philadelphia 76ers last night. We do those things, I think this team is going to surprise a lot of people that doubted us heading in, and it's going to make a lot of people that had high expectations look pretty good. So you guys continue to let me know what you. I'm so used to ending edited. I was about to say, once again, I'm Quis. So I'm from Shy Fans. Applaud Derek. George is saying that Magic loss was a good face slap reminder to the players. They have to bring it every night. That's a fact. And Tibbs is, you would think with a coach like Tibbs, they would have brought it against the Magic. But, you have off nights. Didn't like the fact that we didn't treat them the same way we treated them in the first game. We let them know this is not a game you can compete in. And you see, if you give teams like that a chance, an opportunity to win a game, they'll sneak up on you and still 1 or 2. So that I think was a good learning lesson, especially in the start of the season. Maybe that was the wake-up call they needed so that they know you can't take every game for granted. You got to play the game, and you have to play your game if you want to win like we did tonight, if you want to win like we did against the Magic and against the Celtics. D. Ross says we're still on pace for 53 wins. Facts. I would have preferred if we were 4-0 and on our way to on pace for 82 wins, but it is what it is. Mitch for 82, defensive player of the year. Yeah, listen, if you look at this team, there are a lot of players that could walk away with some gold if we continue to play this well. You have Mitch, an option of defensive player of the year. What did I say? Derrick Rose. He also could potentially be sixth man of the year if he continues to perform like this. Who else? Julius Randle. He's always an option to win some kind of award, whether it be one of the NBA All Teams or RJ. He could be on one of the defensive teams. There's some players that can walk away with some accolades or some major accomplishments for this season, especially when you have a team that's clicking like this. Shoot, Tibbs could win Coach of the Year again if he continues to play and we see a dramatic increase in our win percentage, which is a possibility when you look at the talent we're throwing out there on the court now. And the road to the road to winning those awards starts, I guess. Well, it started at the beginning of the season, but after this stream, it's going to start against the Bulls, and we're going to have to go out there and punch them in the mouth. I don't want them to win, especially the fact that, well, of course, I don't want them to win. I'm a Knicks fan, but I don't want them to win because I wanted Lonzo Ball on this team. I feel like if you look at what Kemba's doing, Lonzo could do similar things. I think the biggest benefit with Kemba is the fact that he penetrates a little bit more, even though he's not big at finishing around the rim. He at least is getting into the paint a little bit more than Lonzo, collapsing the defense and then kicking it out. And also, when you look at Kemba, he's making a lot less than what Lonzo Ball is. So if you look at Kemba, what he's able to produce, that 19 points he was able to give you, and he's only doing it for $8 million, that's phenomenal. But as you've known, I'm a big fan of what Lonzo Ball could have contributed to this team. So I would have liked to have him here. But, that's not how the cookie crumbled. And now we're going to have to make sure we beat I don't want to curse. We got to make sure we go out there and we let the Chicago Bulls know that we are the premier, one of the cream of the crop teams in the Atlantic Division and in the East. And they're going to have to play one of their best games to win. I mean, they've been solid defensively. They got Lonzo Ball, they got DeRozan, they got Levine, Vucevic. But I think the Knicks, if we are playing our brand of basketball, if we're being physical out there, not making stupid fouls, I think it'll be tough for the Lonzo Bulls. It'll be tough for the Bulls to walk away with a win. And it's a away game, so that is going to be even more it's going to be even more difficult because you know what the saying is. A lot of our bench guys perform a little bit better here at the Garden than we do out there on the road. So it's going to be difficult in that regards, but I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the game. Hopefully I'll be able to get the time off and watch the game from home instead of watching the game at work, but we'll see about it. We'll see. I'm trying to work on it. Kemba's shooting 505 from three. Was that 50? Was that supposed to be 50%? It's 5. Yeah, 5 is the percent sound. So Kemba's shooting 50% from three. Kemba's getting his feet wet. Within the offense, defense, the Lord save us. Into the next verse, Kemba puts more pressure on the defense than Zoe. Facts. Anthony is saying game of the year. I hope so. Because even on Twitter, you're looking at a lot of Chicago Bulls fans. They're talking crazy. You would have thought we were the team that was undefeated, and they were trying to get in our heads and try to knock us off our game. But they're over there puffing their chest out. They got a little 4-0 record, thinking they're gonna come in and or not, we're gonna go in and be a pushover. But I think if this team shows up and plays our physical brand of basketball and continues to trust in one another, this should be a game that I'm not gonna make a prediction and say we win the game for sure, but this should be a game where we win a tight, hard-fought battle. I don't see this being a easy game. I don't think the Bulls are going to be a pushover, but I think we match up well against them. We need this win. RJ got the show out. RJ, you look at RJ. RJ has shown from his time in the league that he has slow starts. You know, it happened last year. He was able to recover and rebound and have a phenomenal season, especially shooting the ball. And I'm expecting him to do the same thing this season. He's going to take some time for him to get acclimated. Excuse me. He's not as the Knicks don't. He's not one of those guys that has the ball in his hand as much as he did last season. You look at the additional talent we brought in, and it just makes sense. You're not going to see RJ have as many touches, but when he does get the good looks at the basket, I want him to start knocking down those shots. He had a couple good drives with his right hand. Not a couple. He had one in the last game, and then he had one in the game before where he's been finishing with his right hand. I want to see some more of that. I want to see him to start knocking down that pull-up mid-range shot. And when he has the open three, I want him to continue to knock it down. He was 2 of 4 from 3 last night. And to me, that's perfectly fine. 4-10 overall. You would have liked to have him drop a couple more points here and there, but with solid defense, being a contributor, I'm perfectly fine with the performance we're getting from RJ. You just got to stop turning the ball over and getting stripped. Definitely. Who is your X factor for the game or just on this team? My X factor for the team is Mitchell Robinson. For the game, who would my X factor be for the game? I would say Julius Randle. And that's probably a terrible answer, but I think I said it in the show. You have two versions of Julius Randle. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You have the Julius Randle that's only looking for a shot for the most part, forces the issue, the ball sticks. And then you have the Julius Randle where he's a facilitator, a playmaker. He's looking to get the best shot possible. When we have that Julius Randle, this team is hard to deal with. But when we have the other Julius Randle, it's a lot easier for teams to defend against us. We saw that in the Hawk series. We saw that in the Magic, not the Magic series, but we saw that against the Magic. So my X factor is which Julius Randle shows up. Is it the Julius Randle that goes out and gets 30 and 10 and we lose? Or is it the Julius Randle that goes out there and gets 16 points, 7 assists, and only 1 turnover, and we win? For the game. Hopefully I answered it for the game. It's not the most entertaining answer, but I think it really bodes well to the story of this team, and especially in the game where we're going to need Julius Randle to show up. I'd like Evan off the bench, and we pull trigger on deadlines to get the piece that gets Evan off the bench or on the bench. See, their bench is suspect. Facts. Do the Knicks win if RJ doesn't have a good game? Now, how are you breaking down RJ's a good game or not? Because if you're just looking at the stats and you want to see RJ put up big numbers, big points, then we don't need RJ to have a good game in that regards in order for us to win. We need RJ to go out there and make life as difficult for DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, or even Lonzo Ball if that's who he gets matched up with. If he's able to do that and have a good game in that regard, then anything we get offensively will be icing on the cake because we have players on this team that can go out there and get buckets. I mean, RJ Barrett you wouldn't say RJ Barrett had a great game. Well, he had a great quarter. He had a great end to the game against the Celtics, but I wouldn't go out there and say RJ Barrett has had a great game. He's had great moments within games, but I don't think he's had a great game. And the closest to a great game is against the Celtics. And we're 3-1 without him really having his marquee moment. And if he doesn't have that in the Chicago Bulls game, that's fine by me. I just expect I expect him to still lock up whoever they put in front of him. And if he's able to do that, we'll be fine. Gerard Franklin is saying best bench in the NBA. Yep, true. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up here. You know me. I go from one job, do a stream, and then on to the next. So you guys enjoy the rest of your night, your evening. Thank you guys for pulling up and supporting the stream. Got 92 in chat and 93. It fluctuates. I really was not expecting to see that on a random Wednesday. What's today's Wednesday? What's today's week? Yeah, on a random Wednesday pop-up stream. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for supporting. Appreciate all the support. I think MBK, they're doing a stream right after this. So if you guys need some place to go check out Josh, Uncle Fulio over there and the controversy. Thank you guys for everything. Can't say it enough. Appreciate it. And let's go Knicks. Hopefully the next time you guys see me, we'll be discussing a New York Knicks win. So once again, I'm Quis, host of Sports Vibes TV, and I'm out.